good morning to all of you. Welcome to the English class. My name is Lakshmi, and today I will teach you one topic of your English grammar. But before starting that, let's recapitalize what you've studied in the previous class. Yes, students, you've studied about adjectives, and what these adjectives are, they are describing words. And what they describe a noun or a pronoun. For example, happy dog, tired boy, seven girls. In all these three sentences, happy, tired, seven have been encircled. That means these words are adjectives or these words are describing a noun. An adjective always answers what kind of, which one, and how many. So simply you can say these adjectives are the describing words. They describe a noun or a pronoun. Now students, in this chapter you will study about degrees of comparison. Degrees of comparison of adjectives. Mainly, there are three degrees of comparison of adjectives. They are positive degree, comparative degree, and superlative degree. Now, student, later you will study about how we can use all these three degrees. What are these three degrees and where to use these degrees? See, students, you all are familiar with this table. That is personal pronouns that you've studied in pronouns, then possessive adjectives, this you've studied in the adjective chapter, and possessive pronouns, this also you have studied in your pronouns chapter. Now student, what are degrees of comparison? We use adjectives to describe a noun. We use them to compare persons or things. This we call it degrees of comparison. So the word, the adjectives, when we are using it for the comparison of one, mainly if when we are talking about only one person or we are comparing between two or more than two, we use these degrees. Now, first one is the positive degree. And what is that positive degree? We use the positive degree when we speak about only one person or thing. Means we are simply describing a noun. That is, LeBron James is tall. The house is big. This flower is beautiful. All these colored words, that is tall, big, beautiful, are the adjectives. And they are of which degree? They are of positive degree of adjectives. In all these sentences, we are talking about only one person or a thing. We are not comparing here, we are just describing a noun. So this we call it positive degree. Now students, comparative degree. In comparative degree, we use when we compare two persons or two things with each other. In positive degree, we were not comparing, but in comparative degree, we are comparing between two. Only two, not more than two. Yao Ming is taller than LeBron James. This house is bigger than that one. She is nicer than him. So, in all these sentences, comparison is going on between two. Either we're talking about person or thing. So, this we call it comparative degree when we compare two things or two persons. Now, the last one is superlative degree. We use the superlative degree when we compare more than two persons or thing with one another. It is the highest degree of the quality. For example, Peter is the smallest boy in class. Alice is the sweetest girl in the neighborhood. Alice is the sweetest girl in the neighborhood. The blue whale is the largest of all animals. So, in all these sentences, as you can notice that these are the highest degree of the quality and we are comparing more than two persons or two things with one another. So this we call it superlative degree. Now students, through the examples I've told you that how they have been used in the sentence. So let's see how we make them. These are the three degrees of comparison. If I'll take an example of big, so its comparative degree will be bigger and superlative degree will be biggest. Same is the case with slow, slower, slowest. Now students, some important points you should note down. First one is we generally use a and very as with positive degree. Because in positive degree, we never compare. We just talk about only one person or thing. Comparative degree is generally followed by than. As you've noticed that when I was explaining you comparative degree, there we are comparing between two persons or two things by the use of than. And in superlative degree requires the before it. See children, always remember there are mainly three articles, that is a, an and the. A and an we use with positive degree and the article we use with superlative degree. So these are the points you should keep in mind. Now students, see, most words add er and est for making it comparative and superlative. For example, easy. Easy will become easier, easiest. Wide, wider, widest. Thin, thinner, thinnest. Same is the case with the other examples. So what we are doing, we are just adding er for the comparative degree and est for the superlative degree. Now what is the rule 2? If the word ends in y, changes the y to I, then add er or est. As you have done earlier in the earlier rule, you'll have to add er and est to make it comparative and superlative. But if that word, if that adjective ends with y, you will have to remove y and add I to it. For example, tidy. Tidy word ends with y consonant. So according to the rule, you will have to exclude y and add I. So the spelling of tidier is Tidier. And tidiest is Tidiest. Same is the case with happy also. It also ends with the consonant y. And lucky. In lucky also, it also ends with consonant y. Then big words use more and most. See children, in some of the cases you must have noticed that you cannot add er or est. So in that cases you will have to just write more in comparative degree and most in superlative degree. For example, faithful. Faithful. Faithful is the word you cannot write faithfuler or faithfulest. You'll have to simply write more faithful and most faithful. Same is the case with beautiful also. You cannot write, there's no such word like beautiful or beautifulest. So to make it comparative, you'll have to add more to beautiful, and for superlative, you'll have to add most. Similarly, the other words also like industrious, courageous, active, attractive, brilliant, careful, cunning, difficult, famous, proper, popular, splendid, etc. Now student, let's recapitalize what you have studied. You have studied about 3 degrees of comparison, that is positive degree, comparative degree and superlative degree. Simplest form, no comparison. In comparative degree, comparison using more or er, and superlative degree, comparison using most or est. Now student, I hope you all must have understood the 3 degrees of comparison and how we can use it in the sentence. Thank you and